Hi, my name is Darren, and this is a lockdown story. Case number 6. UFOs and Nukes. Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota, USA, 24th of October 1968. What scares you more, UFOs or nuclear weapons? There's a surprising correlation between the two, and this story is the first of many involving them. In the heartland of rural North Dakota, in the middle of a vast plain, sits Minot Air Force Base. In 1968, in the fields surrounding the base, spaced out between 10 and 70 miles from its borders, sat 150 missile silos, each housing one intercontinental ballistic missile that carried a 1 megaton warhead. This missile farm, as such bases are known, has housed a large part of the USA's strategic nuclear deterrent for over 60 years. Furthermore, on the base itself, a squadron of 15 B-52 bombers were also stationed, each of which could be armed with up to 4 free-fall nuclear weapons. The bombers were armed and ready to go at a moment's notice. Depending on how you choose to look at it, it's fair to say that Minot was in the business of death on a massive scale, or keeping the peace. And that, it appears, was enough to attract some attention. To put Minot's missile fields into context, each group of 10 missiles was linked to their own launch control facility. Each launch facility is manned 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, by teams of 2 Air Force officers in a sealed underground bunker. On the surface, each missile group has its own dedicated maintenance and security teams. The security teams patrol the fields, ensuring no one gets near to the missile silos, while the maintenance teams routinely check the missiles to ensure they are ready to fly if required. On 24th of October 1968, at approximately 2 a.m, a security team at surface level was guarding a maintenance unit that had been deployed to one of the silos. The maintenance team went underground to check the missile's target alignment system, and the security team settled in for their watch. But soon they became agitated because they spotted a large glowing object in the sky that appeared to land not far from the silo. This sighting was confirmed by 2 other maintenance technicians out in the fields who reported that they had observed an object in the sky near to the silo in question, circling around it to the south. Over the next 2 hours, the security teams, maintenance crews, and flight controllers for the missile launch facilities across the entire base logged the status and position of objects, which appeared to be cataloguing the entire missile field. Independent reports mutually described a very large, brightly illuminated aerial object that would alternate colours from brilliant white to amber and green. It appeared to have the ability to hover, accelerate rapidly, and abruptly change direction. Then, at 3 a.m, a B-52 bomber returning from a training mission was on approach to the airfield when it was tasked with seeing if the crew could visually acquire the UFO. They did not see anything, but the plane's radar detected an object at a distance of 3 miles away. The object suddenly, without warning, and within one radar sweep of approximately 3 seconds, closed distance to the bomber from 3 miles to 1 mile while maintaining perfect formation with it. At this point, the B-52's radios went dead, and the object began to follow the bomber all the way down to its near landing, after which it disappeared from the radar scope and the radios returned to working condition. The bomber crew performed an emergency practice landing and were then ordered to attempt to get a photograph of another object that had been detected some 16 miles away, which was reported as hovering and near to the ground. This time, the pilots did observe an object, which one of them described initially as a miniature sun sitting on the ground beneath our aircraft. As the B-52 banked and turned to fly over the object, the co-pilot was able to observe the UFO through the pilot's window as it passed beneath, at a distance of approximately 300 meters. He described what he saw as a huge egg-shaped object, approximately 60 meters long and 30 meters wide. with a surface that appeared to give off a dull reddish colour like molten steel. Once again, as the bomber passed over the object, its radios would not transmit. The B-52 eventually landed after its overflight, and the crews moved to the control rooms to try and find out what they had seen. Shortly afterwards, the outer and inner security alarms at one of the missile silos sounded. A security team was scrambled to the silo, only to find that the gate to the area had been opened, and one of the access hatches to the silo was open. They found no subsequent sign of intruders. Other security personnel at the base continued to report objects in the sky through until 5:30 a.m, when, as dawn broke, they faded from view and the incident was over. It is obvious that something extraordinary happened at Minot. The witnesses were all highly trained specialist personnel. You do not, after all, ensure the security of nuclear weapons to those prone to flights of fancy. And the reports from the independent security teams across the base all corroborated each other. Furthermore, there were radar traces of the objects recorded, both on the ground and from the B-52. The pilot of the aircraft saw the object on the ground at close quarters, and the radar operator of the plane recorded the object moving in a manner that no aircraft could perform. And then there were the ground traces, in the middle of a major UFO incident, at a nuclear Air Force base, with an object observed on the ground by hugely credible witnesses. Someone or something opened the gate to a missile silo. Even more extraordinarily, someone or something accessed the missile silo itself. The question is, why? This case remains open, but it is not unique. Next time, we'll travel to Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana in 1967 for another intriguing incident. Until then, thank you for listening. Stay safe, and goodbye.